Everyone dreams of a quiet life by the lake, tucked away in the woods, where the only sound is the wind through the pines and the water. I bought this property for its privacy. It was perfect, until the neighboring HOA decided that my private road was their personal shortcut to the beach. They didn't just use it, they acted like they owned it. Leading the charge was President Margaret, a woman who treated the entire county like her kingdom. I tried to be nice, I put up signs, I asked politely. But for these people, private property was merely a suggestion they chose to ignore. The dust from their cars was coating my porch, and the noise was ruining my peace. It was time for a direct conversation with the HOA board. Margaret didn't want a conversation. She wanted submission. She marched onto my porch waving a folder full of rules that didn't even apply to me. She claimed the road was a community asset. I reminded her that my land was never part of her association. She laughed and told me to sue her. So, I took her advice. Not by suing immediately, but by digging deep into the archives. I needed to see exactly what the law had to say. My lawyer confirmed what I suspected. The road was built by my grandfather. There was no easement, no public right-of-way, and certainly no HOA access. The HOA had been bullying me based on a lie they'd told themselves for years. It was time to remind them whose dirt they were driving on. The plan was simple. If it's my road, I can close it. I spent that night finalizing the legal notifications and ordering the necessary supplies. Monday morning arrived with the sound of heavy machinery. I wasn't just putting up a fence, I was reclaiming my sovereignty. By noon, the posts were set. A massive, industrial-grade steel gate was being welded into place right at the start of the gravel path. I added the finishing touch, a sign that left no room for interpretation. Private road, permanently closed by owner. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Then, I sat back and waited. It didn't take long for the first resident to arrive, expecting their usual shortcut to the water. The driver sat there for 5 minutes, staring at the gate as if it might disappear if they waited long enough. It didn't. Then came Margaret. She didn't just stop. She flew out of her car like she was ready for war. She was screaming before her feet hit the gravel. She grabbed the bars and shook them, demanding I come down and open her road. I simply pointed to the legal notice taped to the gate. She threatened to call the police. I told her I already had, and that they were on their way to deliver a cease and desist to the HOA board. The look on her face when the officer told her there was nothing he could do about a man closing his own driveway. That was worth every penny. The neighbors had to take the long way around a 20-minute detour through traffic instead of my 3-minute gravel shortcut. The dust finally settled. For the first time in years, I could hear the birds again. I could hear the lake hitting the shore. The HOA tried to fight it in court, but their case crumbled faster than their patience. My property rights were ironclad, just like my gate. I even added a new sign near my mailbox. It simply says "Not in HOA," decorated with a small, hand-painted lake scene. Margaret doesn't come around anymore. The HOA learned a very expensive lesson about boundaries and the law. Now, as the sun sets over the water, I finally have the life I paid for, peaceful, private, and entirely my own. Sometimes you have to build a gate to get your point across. And sometimes, that gate is the best investment you'll ever make.